David Dida Vega, the first-time era rep who lost his battle with COVID-19 before he could be sworn in as a parliamentarian, still received official honors today at his funeral, which happened at Mount Calvary Cemetery in Corozal town. Prime Minister John Briceño, Opposition Leader Patrick Faber, the Acting Governor General, and the BDF Guard of Honor were among the attendants who gave the sense of occasion at this official funeral. Before this misfortune, Vega was on an upward trajectory of service to the people of Corozal Bay. He was only just enjoying political success before tragedy hit. But his colleagues made it clear to funeral goers that Vega was a self-made man from very humble beginnings who did not allow a lack of money to get in the way of his educational pursuits.
His sister Seldy clearly remembers during the years of primary school that their dad put up a basketball hoop and Dido fell in love with basketball from that day on. This also caused all the kids from the neighborhood to come to their house and play basketball. During his primary school years, Dee was an altar boy and also was in the Boy Scouts. Seldy remembers that their mother would encourage Dee and her to sell cookies at school to make some extra cash. But Dee was embarrassed, and he would return home without money and without cookies. So one day, the mother decided to have both Dee and Seldy work the team together, where Dee would hold the cookies and Seldy would collect. But Dee was still not too happy with this job, and he would throw away all the cookies, so he didn't have to do it. During the years at high school, he met his high school sweetheart and future wife, Ingrid Mendez. Whilst attending high school, he would spend most of his time picking up empty soda bottles to make extra cash on the side. And he would also find weekend and holiday jobs in town. He realized that working hard and doing many jobs would pay off in the end, even after the cookie incident. Dee graduated with a master's in pure mathematics. During these years, Dee had to make many sacrifices. He had to work several jobs and also focus on his studies at the same time. He was an assistant teacher at Jacksonville and even worked at Wendy's, the fast food restaurant. His sister Susie remembers visiting with their mom on one summer vacation. Dee had asked that Ingrid pick him up from one of his part-time jobs. Susie asked delightedly if she could go along, and as they got closer to the location, Susie said that Dee was sitting on the sidewalk, hunchback, sleeping, and was tired as can be. This showed how much of a hard worker Dido was and how willing he was to go the extra mile for his education.
I remember Dido coming to me to say he was ready to enter the political field. I asked him, Dido, you sure? This rough, you know. He told me, Deputy, I am as sure as the time I wanted my bachelor's degree. I had no money. I saved enough for a one-way ticket to Florida and went and just parked in front of the university. I asked him again, and he repeated the same story. From then, I was convinced that he had that drive, that inner strength, the right material to be a PUP standard bearer and one who would deliver for us. Dido had a gift, a mathematical mind. I remember during the counting for the last municipal elections, like about 20 minutes afterwards, he texted me, we are going to win. I was skeptical, and so I called him. I called him, and he said, I am in the counting room, and I am 99.6% sure we will win. Upon hearing that, I was celebrating already. Dido told me that. That's good for me. This skill he repeated for several village council elections in my area. I remember another time he was in the counting room, and he called me early. He said, we win, Deputy. That's all I needed to know. I never need to hear anything else. Afterwards, we asked him, how does he know? How does he know right shortly after the counting starts, the counting of the ballots? How does he know we will win? I believe it was his mathematical mind. He gave us some explanation that made sense at the time, but small minds like us not fully comprehend how he did it, but he did it. We could only marvel at how at his brilliant mind.
Tito Vega is a man that if you met him on a bus, you would feel after a 15-minute ride that he was your lifelong friend. He lived his life in full energy mode, engaging and passionate. Those who knew Tito loved him because he was fearless, charismatic, and inspiring. His late mother, Elvia Vega, was beloved by the entire community, and she raised her son to live respectful in the service of others. Today, we gather in the community of Tito Vega. We gather thinking of his dear wife, Ingrid, who is in the hospital fighting the dreaded COVID-19. We gather thinking about Brianna and Kelsey, Tito and Ingrid's beautiful daughters. We are people of faith, and we come here humbly asking for your strength and guidance as the Vega family endures this unimaginable pain. Seldy, Elvi, Susie, and Mayin, your brother was a fighter like no other.
Reporting for 7 News, Daniel Ortiz.